Hey guys, thanks for watching the videos. Check this out. This is the lathe. I've done a few things since finishing the restoration that I'll throw in this little clip at the end here. Both of the chucks are down here, and that's because I got a new one. I found an 8-inch South Bend on eBay, and I am really impressed with it. It's a great chuck. VFD was on the wall, and it has a remote kit. There's magnets, the Velcro is just padding, and it sticks on here, so I can kind of move it around a little bit and put it at a convenient location. Don't mind this, this is just a sticker. If you know, you know. That's the hard line, and the VFD will now turn on. There we go. All the speeds are controlled right here. It's set to max out at 60 Hertz, which would be normal speed. If we turn it down to, let's go down to 3. And that should be good for a demonstration. We got the shifter levers, and these are really cool. You don't see any modern machines with gear levers this big and kind of, I don't even know, sculpted would be the word. So the right is over here, so we're this area and then this guy, so there we go. We're at 480 RPM right now. Let's drop it down to 301. So you can see this one now needs to go over, and we'll get there. Just wait for it. There we go. And now this guy for 301 needs to come over. There. Now we're at 301. Originally, what you do is you would drift the clutch. There's one right there and another one right here. Now, I just leave these engaged the whole time. I'm using the VFD to control the shifting by dropping the RPMs. These clutch levers actually go over here and then up and then into right there. And that's where your clutch is inside. But again, I just leave that engaged all the time. I'm using the VFD, and I can slow it down to shift. This is an interesting selector right here. And you can see it screws in. So it's not something that you really change often. That reverses everything. I'm still not sure when that would be used. Maybe there's some kind of threading operation that comes into play. But for right now, I pretty much always leave that where it is. This is the quick change gearbox. There's a selector here, A and B. There's a selector up here, EDC. And then there's this whole kind of cartridge of gears right here. So right now we're in B, D. And then you select the speed you want right here. So for this one, BD right there. If I can get it to mesh. There we go. Now it is 10 thousandths per revolution. And that 10 thousandths is the feed. 36 would be for threading, so 36 threads per inch. So right now it's 10 thousandths, and that feed is going to go through one of these screws. This is for the feed, and this is for threading. Right now, this position is engaged to spin the feed shaft, this one right here. We can speed that up real quick. Now if you switch it over, then it will spin the top one for threading. I have a cutoff. This is actually the end of a barbell for weightlifting. Let's chuck it up and yeah, show you what this thing can do. And we'll turn the light on. Real quick, this is the light stand. I kind of fabricated that. I am an amateur welder at best. I'm quite good at grinding though. Although my welds got better the further along I got with this. This is just attached down here. The light is on magnetically. This shroud is actually from a recessed light can from our house. We went all LED, so I didn't need that anymore. And up top, a nice little tool tray. Surprisingly strong. Allows me to put all of my quick change tool holders and some of the other common things that are used also up here. Plenty of storage room. I really like that. I really like the idea of having tools that I use all the time right at arm's length. Now down to the carriage. Now the carriage, we have, of course, the large hand wheel. And then these two levers. This one engages the feed here. So that would be that's engaged, it's gonna turn this wheel. This one, when down, will engage this feed screw. So when that's engaged down, this will advance in whatever direction you have it set. And again, the feed direction for both of those is determined right here. So right now, it's going to feed in toward the center of the piece and towards the headstock. Now, it also goes in reverse. That will change the feed to come towards the operator and towards the tailstock. If it's a neutral right there, now it's ready for threading. So if this is in that position, and then we engage over here that, so the thread shaft is spinning. So again, this one right here would be spinning. Now this is what you run to control it. This will spin. There's 4 numbers on there, and threading is its own topic. We're not going to cover that right now. But basically this will spin. There's a line right here, and when things line up the way you need it for your thread, this will engage. You just kind of throw it down like that. It'll engage. It goes a little further. It'll engage, and then you'll start threading, and then that's to disengage. So for right now, we're going to go right like that so we can run the feeds. Up top, this guy, let's take a look here. You'll see the dial. This is our lock. So unlocked, and now this will move freely. Lock it down. Now it's firmly locked. I'm still playing with this a little bit, but it appears when this is engaged, you can advance it to a certain point and then it'll hit a stop, a hard stop. I believe that will be handy for threading because you can back it out and then go back to where you were. Ooh, it popped. Yeah, anyway, I'm still learning how that works. See how it didn't catch. Yeah, so there's a learning curve here. I don't quite understand. Oh, there it is. So yeah. Anyway, that might be handy for threading, to be able to back it off, go back to where you were, and then advance on the compound. But again, still learning exactly how to use that. For now, we're going to leave that out. Compound, very similar. This dial right here rotates freely. If you remember from assembly, there's 3 ball bearings, little balls with springs, so that friction it to this plate. So you can move it with a little bit of, just a little bit, and then using friction, it will stay exactly where you left it. So it doesn't lock down like this one with this guy right here, but it still holds its position. Just a quick look. Here's that plate I made. There's a Gibbs screw right there, and there's also a Gibbs screw on the other side. Same here, Gibbs screw right here, and then one on the other side over here. And that's important because if you just try to crank down on that Gibbs screw to tighten it, nothing's going to happen because you got to back the screw off on the other side. That actually was huge. Once I figured that out, boy, this was like a different machine. Everything got super tight. All the cuts were super nice. And actually, let's do that. Let's run this right now, and I will make some shavings. This is kind of tricky because I want to be able to show what I'm doing, but I don't want to crash into stuff. All right. Before I turn it on, right here is the carriage lock. So that locks it down, gets rid of this movement. All right, the camera is balanced very precariously here. Look at that. Okay, let's take a pass. All right, let's take a little bit bigger cut. I just zeroed my dial. Let's take 100 thou. Let's go to 200 thou. All right, let's get closer and take a look. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I mean, that's not all that bad of a surface for a 200 thousandths cut. I almost forgot about the tailstock. One last thing on this guy, this is your lock, so that locks it down, that unlocks it. Right here, these two nuts will lock it in place, otherwise you can slide it. It is very heavy, it's probably 250 pounds, maybe 300, so it does take a little bit of force to move it. What does not take much force to move though is this wheel. That thing is just so stupidly smooth. Anyway, let's see, what else am I missing? I am thinking about putting some kind of cover right here. You can see the wall has some stuff on it. That's from one of those guys. When I was playing with all the feeds and I cranked it up to 600 and I had just lubed it, like, you know, covered it in oil, and then I continued to cover my wall in oil. Yeah, that right there in the ceiling is how I load the 208 pound 4-jaw and the 176 pound 3-jaw. Anyway, I think that is going to do it. This is a fantastic machine. I am beyond lucky and grateful to have it. It is 84 years old, and I'm sure that it will be around in another 84 years. I will not be the last owner of this thing, which is kind of crazy to think. But I will definitely take good care of it, and the next guy won't have to restore it. That's for sure. And I suppose if they do, they can go look at the videos and they can get a good idea of what they're in for, or what the last guy goofed up. Hopefully not that. Anyway, this is my new machine room. Still getting organized over here, as you can see, but for the most part, this is what it is. And yeah, super cool. Well, I suppose that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, take care until next time.